alive. I hope. I'm here. Hello everyone. Sorry about the little bit delay. I was uploading the first video for Batman Week, my review of the Tim Burton Batman films, which are just processing the news, so they should be up. You can watch it after this stream if you want. But thanks for coming, everyone. Hope you don't mind the delay. Was planning on starting this a bit sooner, but as it is, my internet is very iffy at the moment, and hopefully doesn't cut out in me today. Fingers crossed. So thanks for all you who have came, and I might as well tell you what topic I'm going to be talking about today. I was planning on doing this topic last week as well as I was talking about Capcom, but of course, if you were here last week, you know what happened. So let me just tell you the topic. It's actually a topic that it's actually from a hello wave, everyone wave. It's actually a topic that was a quote from the I think it's the I've got the link open up here. It's from the director of Heavy Rain. He actually said something that's quite controversial at the moment. He actually said something that I actually think he's telling the truth about. I'm going to read the quote out, so excuse me. I won't read it word for word. Heavy Rain director David Cage recommends that the overdose of shooters may kill the industry. And I quote, "I think the industry needs to gain games like Journey because it breathes in fresh air. This is necessary in any medium." Quantum Dreams founder David Cage told Gaming International, "How many first-person shooters can we create per year? How many can we play per year? How many of them will be successful? Even from a business point of view, does it make sense? I'm not sure." And he continues on to say, "I mean, this industry will die if it doesn't try to innovate and try to come up with new ideas and to talk about it more. Not necessarily serious, but deeper things at the same point." And there it is. There is a game developer who has flat out just told us the truth. And that is that in this modern day of gaming, there is a lack of innovation, which I am fully supportive of, because let's be perfectly honest, there is a very deep lack of innovative games. Even I don't plan this, by the way. Even Mass Effect was slowly but surely turning into a bit more of a shooter. It still had RPG elements, but they sacrificed quite a lot of the RPG elements to make the game a bit more mainstream. I think any RPGer, any person who's played a classic RPG game can state that as the truth. That basically industries think, especially gaming industries, think that first-person shooters or shooter games are the future. Needs to be easy to program and cheap to buy platforms and exactly. The reason that they do it is Charles just said it best. It's cheap, it's easy, and we buy it. Like, I'm not a massive first-person shooter. I'm not the biggest fan of it. If it's not done right, I hate it. And that's what I think is the major problem with this industry, especially nowadays. Like, I don't know how many people remember this, but remember the day when games were actually different? When we actually had a vast amount of game choices. Now, I grew up with the N64. I did also play the NES and occasional other games. There were platformers, there were RPGs, there were puzzle games. There were a lot of games that we all grew up with. And there is a major reason for this, and as back then, gaming was not mostly, but largely considered a casual thing. There were very few hardcore individuals out there that would point out as that it's only like in the last 10 or so years that gaming has become something of a cultural phenomenon. And I can merit that because I'm a geek. But it's just, as I say, it's one of the major contributors is the shit economy, and I know this economy all too well because, well, basically, if you don't know, I've been applying for a job for the past 2 years and I haven't got one. And that proves that the economy is shit. And game developers see this. Very few game developers, more so publishers though, a lot of game developers do want to take risks. And a lot of them really want to take the risks of making a game that's completely different and above the norm. But the only problem is, no publisher's going to willingly do that nowadays because they can't guarantee a staple. They cannot guarantee any money out of it. Let's just say I think a lot of developers call CATI the first-person genre, especially war games that focus on multiplayer, that I think is a large demographic way. Exactly. Most of these first-person shooters concentrate too much on the multiplayer, and that's another thing. That's a whole different video. Trust me, I've got a rant time video scheduled for that. But it's just first-person shooters are oversaturating the market. And by the way, I don't know if I should, but I'm going to include this as well. I'm going to include third-person shooters as well, because just look how many of them are coming out. It's just a lot of publishers. I don't really want to say developers. I want to say publishers, but there are developers that are guilty of it too. So publishers and developers think that the future is multiplayer. When I see what they're going with, if we look at games like World of Warcraft, and Call of Duty, those games only survive because they have, well, World of Warcraft is an MMO, so that has to be massively multiplayer. But Call of Duty is the only reason Call of Duty is still around is because of the multiplayer. Let's face it, because the campaigns are pitiful. And that's what David was saying, is that basically we're oversaturating the market with first-person shooters. What's going to happen is the first-person shooter genre is going to become a joke. And it kind of already is. I mean, how many first-person shooters out there, how many of them actually have deep, engrossing stories? The last one, to my knowledge, which isn't technically classified as a first-person shooter, it's a first-person RPG, is Deus Ex. Deus Ex was a first-person RPG with shooter elements. That was the last good first-person game. Because that's the first-person isn't exactly the easiest game platform to. Yeah, Bioshock really did actually have a good story, and Dead Space is a third-person shooter, but very few game developers are willing to take a risk when it comes to first-person shooters. Like, they always want to stick to the norm, which is shoot, kill, multiplayer. They completely bypass the other main elements of a game. The last real first-person shooter that had a decent story was Bioshock, to my knowledge, and that's the only first-person shooter series that it's not really a shooter series; it's more of a horror series. But it is basically most of the game is you shooting, basically, and it really sickens me that a lot of these publishers or developers, whoever is to fault, think that the first-person shooter is a safe franchise to focus on, when in actual fact it's not. See, in the opposite. Instead of first-person shooters becoming a joke, innovative games and RPGs that have once are going to become a joke, and the majority of these games. Good point, MD. Actually, a very good point, because Mass Effect is the prime example. Look at Mass Effect 1. Deep, engrossing story. Controls were god-awful. Let's just face it, the controls were fucking shit. There's no ifs, buts, or whats about it. Mass Effect 2 sacrificed a lot of the RPG elements, but still was a good RPG to get the shooting mechanics done and the cover mechanics, turn that into a bit more of an action RPG. And then Mass Effect 3 is more action, less RPG. And that's what MD, you made up a good point. That is probably what's going to happen, is that first-person shooters will end up being the prime example of basically what's going to be the games in the future. Boring people don't think it too much, but definitely much as just say it's sad. Yeah, saddens me as well as that games that have potential, like an RPG. Let's just say a publisher or a developer announced they were making a RPG shooter game. Here's what the publisher would say: make sure you get the shooter mechanics done, and then of course, quick back like Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, which in my opinion probably didn't really need to be in Mass Effect 3 in my opinion. But unless you're playing with people you know, it's shit. But yeah, that is EA all over. That is EA all over it. Because EA think that you need multiplayer, you need shooting mechanics, you need to be able to take 50 fucking bullets and then have regenerative health. You need to have this, you need to have that, because guess what's doing well at the moment? Call of fucking Duty. Here's my thing. If I was making a game, like I do have a concept for a game written down. I concentrate on the story. Here's how I see it. It all comes down to what genre you want your game to be. If you want your game to be a first-person shooter, then you have to make it you have to make it a first-person shooter that's different enough and has good enough mechanics and something new to it that makes it different, that makes it worthwhile. But what I'm making, let's just say I was making this game, I'm making a fantasy RPG mixed in with time travel. Well, no time travel, but like sort of like Dragon Age 2. Like first Act 1 is there, then X amount of years later, then X amount of years later. That's the way my game would go. I would say, like, I want an idea. It's an RPG. I want people to have choice. I want people to be able to interact with this ride. I want people to care about the characters. I want this. I want this. I would try and make that's what the genre is, but too many genres are crossing. Especially when it comes to first-person shooters. Like, I'm half expecting fucking Dragon Age Black Ops next year. Which would, oh fuck, can you imagine that? Oh god. Like, if EA have their way with it, they'll set Dragon Age in modern times and you'll be shooting AK-47s. That's what's going to happen, is because too many developers and publishers, more so publishers than developers, I'm going to be honest, because let's face it, BioWare could probably be a Bethesda and publish their own games if they were smart, but unfortunately they can't do that anymore. When it comes to that, it's just the publishers are people who went to marketing school and think they know the fucking genre, or think they know about gaming. They think they look at the statistics, and statistically speaking, the most popular type of genre out there is first-person shooter. And I can give you a prime reason why that is. I can give you an exact reason. Because they're quick, they're easy, and they're for the casual gamer. That's first-person shooter in a nutshell. That's it. That's all first-person shooters are. There are very few, and high playability. There are very few first-person shooters that go beyond that. There are very few that go beyond shoot this, die, get shot, regenerate, fuck off. Most first-person shooters nowadays you can breeze through in 8 hours, and let's see, somewhere in the range of 4 to 8 hours. For fuck's sake, I breezed through the Call of Duty World of War campaign in less than 3. And that's what apparently publishers think is doing well. They think that, oh, we just need short campaigns and good multiplayer. When they don't realise is, if they go and ask people what they want, like if, say, I go in a survey, and I sat down with an EA representative, I would have to refrain from killing them. I would, guarantee that I would have to refrain from fucking gutting them like a fish. And they asked me, what do you want in your games? I would say, I want a good story, interactive characters, a lot of replayability is a bonus, but I want to be interested, I want to be engrossed in the story. Decent gameplay and decent graphics are okay with me. And I can guarantee my thoughts would be flushed down the toilet because of marketing says, guess what? Shooters are doing good, let's bring out our first-person shooter. The short games boost the fan base, release another game. Yep, exactly like fucking Call of Duty, AMD. Call of Duty is nothing but a random ass game that you get to kill things in. That is it. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that is all it fucking is. And it really, really pisses me off because I remember back when I was playing games, I played them for the enjoyment. I played them for the story. Even though Mario is the basic of basic story, you kind of cared what happened to Peach. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, you kind of cared about Peach. Quantum Dreams. I think it's Quantum Dreams. Are the makers of the series called Heavy Rain, and they're making Beyond Two Souls. And he's the fucking founder of it is basically saying first-person shooters are killing the genre. Are killing this industry slowly but surely. Yeah, Crash Bandicoot, awesome, I loved it. But he's completely right. His company, Quantum Dreams, are making Beyond Two Souls, which looks fantastic. It's something that we haven't seen before. It looks graphically stunning. The story looks fantastic from the looks of it, and it looks like an interactive movie. Let's be honest, but it has gameplay in it. And that's what is going to happen. Like, that is what I love about Quantum Dreams. Like, I want to play their games, but I don't have a PS3, and they're unfortunately PS3 exclusives. And I'm dying to see what they do now, because they only bring out a game every, let's see, every few. They don't bring a game out every year. They bring a game out every 2 or 3 years. If my memory serves, like before Heavy Rain, their last game was on the PS fucking 2. That was how long ago it was. And also, they made a trailer. If you haven't seen this, the trailer is called Kara, and it's a fantastic trailer. They should be the future videos, not freaking mod. Exactly. Like if you've never seen this trailer called Kara, they didn't make this trailer for a game. They just made the trailer for fun, and it looks awesome. I mean, like it's I think it's like 10 minutes long. It's emotional. It's fucking fantastic. And the amount of people that outcried and went, "We want a game of this. We want a fucking game of this." Me included, by the way. It was fantastic. It took them somewhere in, I think, 2 years to make the trailer. To make a trailer. They took 2 years, I think. I can't be wrong. To make it. And they released it just, here, we made this. Hope you like it. And what was it like? It was fantastic. In my opinion, it'd be it's a fucking interesting concept for a game. I'll say that right now. I want to play that game. I can guarantee they're probably going to make it eventually. They haven't announced it, but with all the support they got for it, I can guarantee they're going to make that into a game. Yeah, it was like iRobot, but different. It looked really good. It looked like a different concept for iRobot, basically. iRobot, but better. But that's what I love about the Quantum Dreams is they make games that they want to play. That's what I love about those developers. That's why I also like CD Projekt. They make games they want to play. It's not just a job for them. It's actually something they enjoy doing, and they see what people want. They see that people don't just want a fucking multiplayer first-person shooter game. They don't want one of their most favorite IPs. Like see them on me. Yeah. Here's a good thing for everyone to check out if they can. If you get a chance and you want to see how bad EA can screw up a game, check out the Spoonie Experiments review of the Ultima series. You will see my point. Excuse me. But what's happening to BioWare is what happened to Origins. I'm not going to go into this whole debate. I'm just saying it, okay? And that's why I think EA is the prime example of publishers who concentrate too much on the market and not enough on the actual fans or the actual people that are buying their games. They just see statistics. And statistically speaking, shows do better than anything else. Which is got shows will always be here. That's what they'll be. Shows, first person shows, third person shows will always be here. We ain't getting rid of them anytime soon. And they will sell out. They'll sell millions of copies every goddamn year. And by the way, you can't even call the Call of Duty franchise sequels anymore. They are just copy and paste fucking jobs. That's all they are, people. It's them being lazy and just going copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, release. That's all they're fucking doing. They're just releasing the same game every year. And that's what developers think. And a lot of these developers and publishers half-ass it. Call of Duty, in my opinion, was the start of the downfall of the gaming industry for a long time. Not so much the older Call of Duties, I'm talking about the Call of Duties more recent. And thanks to Call of Duty, we do have some good games out there that are actually really good first-person shooters. The only problem else is, we also have a fuck ton of shit ones. Sports games are a whole nother topic. Sports games are gonna be here as well. But we can't do anything about that. There's always got to be sports games because there aren't people. Like, I'm not a sporty person. I actually don't play a lot of sports. But I used to get the wrestling games every goddamn year because I was a big fan of wrestling. My cousin, one of my family members, my cousin, gets every year they release it by FIFA, the sports game, Pro Evolution Soccer. Sports games are sports simulators, and they're always going to be here. So I don't really have a gripe with them. There's going to be a market for them, unfortunately. But exactly, like I'm going to be using Journey. I haven't played Journey, but I have seen a playthrough of it, and it is a fantastic game. It has great, almost everything is bloody fantastic in it, and guess how long it is? It's 90 minutes long, but it does what it set out to do. It's a fantastic game. Good music, good innovation. It's something new, something that hadn't been done yet. But no developer is willing to do that anymore. Very few developers and publishers are willing to take the risk, are willing to take that little move, to take that little. Just 2 seconds, go. I have to do something. 2 seconds. Sorry, just I need to do a quick something. Hope you don't mind. There we go. But that's the thing is all because of the economical stat. No developer, no publisher is going to be willing to take a risk anymore, and that's sad because a lot of games that people have ideas for, they'll come up and go, "I've got this great idea for a game," and then they'll go, "What's it like?" It's a great fantasy game. You get to play as a new werewolf. It's something that this industry has never seen before. And then they'll go, "No, we can't do that." Why? Because it's a risk. No company nowadays is willing to take a risk, which is sad. Which is really, really sad because when you take a risk, it more than, especially when it comes to gaming, it might not pay off, but it'll be something different. It may pay off, it may not, but I don't know what it is. It's just I'm saddened by the lack of innovation in games these days because there's nothing anymore. There's first-person shooters. There's occasional RPGs. Like especially this year, there have been a fuck ton of RPGs, which is whoa. Double Fine. Other direction entry like Double Fine getting the consumers to. Here's the thing with Kickstarter. If you don't know, there are a lot of companies that there are a lot of companies that are actually going to Kickstarter to fund their games, which is the only place that I've seen innovative games, by the way. Here's the problem with the Kickstarter. Too many people will think that they funded it. Like, let's just say I did a Kickstarter. Let's just say I did a Kickstarter to make, I don't know, Scottish Warrior 92 the video game. Let's just say I did that. And I wanted to make an RPG or a hack and slash game. Here's what I would say. I'm going to make the game, you fund it, I make the game. What I put in the game, I put in the game. You don't get to decide what goes in it. That's what the problem is with Kickstarter. Too many people will think because they put like £5 in, they basically have the right to say, I don't want this in the game, but I want this in the game. That's the only problem I have with Kickstarter. That's why I haven't funded any Kickstarters. And also I have no money. But I will say, Kickstarter's a brilliant thing. You really think you'd want to play with me for like 2.5 hours? Wait. I think I might want to reword that. Oops. Well, thank you, Phantom. But that's the thing is, there is a very, very poor lack of innovation, which saddens me. I mean, back in the day, fuck, I sound like an old guy, and I'm only 20. Back in the day, there used to be a fuck ton of innovative games that were willing to take risks. Call of Duty at one point was a risk, and that paid off. And then, of course, we got to take on consideration all these RPGs that came out. And it really, really pisses me off. Well, you got way above the Charles, I wish you at the end. But that's the thing is that too many developers aren't willing to take that little risk. And sometimes risks don't pay off. That's the thing though. When it comes to games, it's no more apparent than other ones. There are plenty of games out there that have fallen by the wayside and will never get remade or done again. But there are still games that came along and done something new. Something that spiced up the entertainment. Something that spiced up this. Mass Effect, for example, was the first real RPG to actually have a fully voiced character. Main character that had a major part in the game, which was really, really risky to do, but they done it and it worked. It was fantastic. And I loved it. Did you play? What do you? I haven't played Journey, so I can't say anything on it. I've only seen a playthrough of it. And then, of course, we can use Kingdoms of Amalur. Thanks, Alex, for the little reminder. Kingdoms of Amalur was originally intended to be a MMO, by the way. It's kind of obvious to see it was meant to be an MMO. But because of the money and constraints, they rushed it into a single-player game, which, for a single-player game, dull, boring, and repetitive, but still an enjoyable game. And it failed. Basically, it failed, and the company went bust, which is sad, because that company had actually previously made quite a few good games. Yeah, dull but enjoyable. The enjoyable kind of dull. But, yeah, Kingdom of Amalur, the developers that made that big, huge games went under because Kingdom of Amalur didn't sell too well, which is sad, because you could see Kingdom of Amalur had potential, in my opinion. I saw the potential in the game. It had a lot of potential to have a lot of interesting stories. The lore was quite interesting to me personally. Oh yeah, Portal 2's ones went bust as well because Portal 2 didn't do as well as they thought it would do, and that's the thing. Portal 2 wasn't really a risk, but it still went under. Yeah, Kings of Amalur, Portal 2. Kings of Amalur was an enjoyable game for combat. The combat was fantastic, but let's face it, the story wasn't that great. The main story was lackluster. It was interesting up until a point, and then you were just like, when do I get to the fucking end? But I liked the concept. I liked it. But it didn't do too well. It didn't do as well as they planned. They actually intended it to basically be an MMO, but unfortunately, kind of a fucking stupid idea. To make it was one of their first games of memory sales, to make an MMO, and that's a fucking retarded idea to do, by the way. If you're a game company, don't fucking do an MMO. They're fucking expensive. And of course, that's sad that any developer that is willing to take a risk, it may not pay off. It more than likely won't. But there's that chance that it will. What if Mass Effect never succeeded what it done? Would BioWare went under? What if Dragon Age had failed? What if Call of Duty failed? We'd have a completely different type of gaming. And look, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if BioWare keep going the way they're going, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, they will go. They will go under. They will get absorbed into EA, and BioWare will be no more. If they keep going the way they're going, by the way. Just want to get that out there. It's sad, but it's true. And that's the thing, like, there are very few innovative... So I cannot say that fucking word to save myself. Not enough new ideas for games. And too many people just copy and paste. And that's what's going to happen eventually. It's just going to be copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, release it. That's going to be it. Like, Mass Effect, the difference between Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 was primarily the story, which is fine. Graphically, it was a slight improvement, and gameplay-wise, it was virtually identical in some cases. Gunplay was the same, powers were the same, everything was virtually identical. It looked like they had an idea, except for heavy weapons. Heavy weapons got chopped out of the way, but no part of the in my mind. Okay, I can't disagree with you there, Alex. BioWare, I think, are still their own company. It's just EA own their ass, basically. That's the only thing I see. I think BioWare, if they could, they'd get out of it. They'd leave EA if they could, but never going to happen. EA won't let them go. But we can't do anything else. They have said it, but you can tell that's just EA going, fucking say it. It's marketing. That's all it is. Marketing. It's just EA with their hand up fucking Dr. Ray's ass going, oh yes, I can't believe we did another really ending. And that's the thing, like, I miss those days when there was new ideas for games every year. Like, we had something new every year. Or we had a throwback. Like, if someone was to come out and say they wanted to... In fact, here is Game Prep. There's a game, I think it's called The Lost World. I can't remember the name of the game, but it was meant to be a game that was going to come out last week that was based on Final Fantasy was from the creators of Final Fantasy, but not modern Final Fantasies, the older Final Fantasies. That's it, the last story. That's it. Thank you, Shorty. It's called The Last Story, and it was made by the same people that made games like Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. It was made by those people, which was fucking hyped, by the way. I'd only heard about it last week. And that actually sounds interesting to me because I never played the original Final Fantasies, as I've said, and I really would like to. I actually really want to go back and play like Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 2. And the game sounds interesting. I want to go back and like I missed that year. I missed that time of gaming. I missed that game. And I want to play it because it sounds interesting. It sounds like I actually watched a full playthrough of it, and I want to play it. But that's it. Dead Space 3 needs to sell 5,000, 50,000 if there's ever going to be a Dead Space 4. They'll sell it. It's as I said, I'm not a big Dead Space fan. Like the only reason I want to play Dead Space 3 is because it has co-op, and I want to play it with someone just so I can laugh my ass off. Oh, look, I've never played Kingdom Hearts, so I can't say anything on it. So please don't kill me, okay? What was it? Why did I hear shotgun cock? But yeah, there are very few innovative games there. There are very few games that hold my attention anymore. Because let's face it, there are very few games nowadays that have good stories. Most games are rushed beyond belief, and most of them are copy-paste jobs. There are very few interesting story-based games anymore. Kingdom Hearts 3? They fucked it. They say screw it. Here's the thing, do you really want Kingdom Hearts 3? Because it'd be made by the people who own the rights to Final Fantasy. Because Kingdom Hearts was a Squaresoft game, not a Square Enix game. So that's your choice. If you want Kingdom Hearts 3, it'll be from the people that gave us games like Final Fantasy 10, 13, and 13-2. So it'd be nothing but fan service. Do you want... I know there are people out there that want to see Daffy Duck in a bikini, or Daisy Duck in a bikini, or Minnie Mouse in a bikini. Right, Chocobo. So that's your choice when it comes to Kingdom Hearts 3. Do you want it to be like Final Fantasy 13-2, where your main protagonist is an annoying bitch who has a high-pitched voice you want to smash over the head, who has pink hair and wears more revealing clothes than her the fucking boy that's with you, who is also an emo bastard who you want to shove his sword up his ass? Oh yeah, Lightning was voiced by Liara, aka Ali Hills, and Lightning's the only interesting character. Fuck. So, yeah. Very few. And that's what I think the Quantum Dreams guy is. David has just fucking came out and said it. Blatantly blunt force trauma. That basically, if we don't do something fucking innovative, the gaming industry is going to die. It's going to die. And we can say bye-bye to all these great games. Bye-bye. Games like Mass Effect. Bye-bye. Games like Call of Duty, which I probably wouldn't mind going. Bye. Forza, bye. Dragon Age, bye. And if that happens, guess what? No Dragon Age 3. No Mass Effect 4. No bloody Kingdom Hearts 3. No fucking Deus Ex 2. No fucking Shaun of the Dead RPG. No, none of these games will happen. Because the industry will be dead, near enough. Yeah, I don't like Final Fantasy 13-2. Don't even get me started. But it's fucking horrendous that just because of first-person shooters, the gaming industry could be dead within the next 10 years. Even within the next 5 years. Because too many publishers look at fucking statistics instead of reading the forums. You want to know what we want? Here's a tip. Look on YouTube. Look on forum pages. Look on fucking specific gaming websites. Don't look at these fucking developers. Don't look at these fucking people like IGN who fucking give you blowjobs just to get a good free shit. Look at the forums for official games. Look at the BioWare social network. Look at the Final Fantasy forum pages. Look at all of these fucking places. Look at all of them. And look at all these forum pages. And you'll see, here's what we would like to see. Here's what we would like to see. Here's what we want. Here's what we don't want. We don't want another fucking first person shooter. We actually want a game. Which is pitiful. It's absolutely atrocious. But what can you do? I'm not a marketing genius. Apparently I don't count. Apparently none of you count. Apparently what counts are those boys who like to fucking play shooter games. And because there are a fuck ton of them, there will be more. That's it. That's all we're gonna have. That is it. First person shooter after first person fucking shooter. You know what? RPG will be dead in 5 years if we don't stop it now. If we don't stop the fucking disease which is first person shooters, bye bye every other fucking genre. Bye bye your RPGs, bye bye your action games, bye bye your fucking arcade beat 'em ups. Say goodbye to all those games and hello to the FPS RPG genre, the FPS racing genre, the FPS fucking action genre. That's all we're going to have in 5 years is nothing but FPS bullshit. That is all we're going to have. We're not going to have these great interactive story-driven games. We're just going to have a game where you fucking point and shoot. We're just going to have a game that's going to be 5 minutes long in the campaign and then the rest of the fucking game is a multiplayer. We're going to have games like fucking... We're going to have games that are going to have permanent internet connections and you can only play the fucking campaign with multiplayer. That is what we're going to fucking have. That is it. That is all we're going to have. Nothing else. We're just going to have games where you have to have a fucking permanent internet connection, and that's all you have to have. And then you also have to have a game that is fucking nothing but an internet connection, and the only way to play it is to have fucking multiplayer. It sickens me. With Kinect. It really does. And of course people like IGN are just going to sit there, get on their freaking knees, get EA, get fucking Sony, get fucking Nintendo, and get a nice wee fucking cum shower just so they can get fucking free shit. That's all they're going to do. That's all they're going to do. They're going to get the nice fucking drizzle all over their body and just go, can we get free shit now? There you go, you bitch. How do you think Jessica Chobot got into Mass Effect 3? Ooh, I went there. Oh, it really fucking pisses me off. It does. That games that I grew up with, that I loved, that I cared for, are going to be pointless. Like, oh God, I remember, like, this is a while ago, but I can't remember what video it was, but someone commented on one of my videos and stated that the RPG genre is the worst genre in gaming, and first-person shooters are where it's going to be at. Because RPGs are nothing but fanboys and fangirls geeking over pointless fictional stuff. And first-person shooters were the future of gaming. And that's where it's going to be at. Because it's much more intense, heart-pounding. Survival horrors. Let's face it, there aren't that many good survival horror games out there. I know there are a few on PC, don't get me fucking started. But I'm a console gamer primarily. For console survival horror, there aren't that many. But that's going to happen. That is basically what's going to happen, is that all these genres that we care about, survival horror, throw it out the window. In fact, I've got a game that can primarily show that. In fact, it's over here. No, it's downstairs, sorry. Resident Evil 5 is more of an action game than a survival fucking horror game. But I will admit it's still enjoyable to play. I'm replaying it now. And that's what really annoys me, is that it really does sicken me that games like COD are basically the games that are going to be driving the future of gaming, apparently. And if we don't innovate, we don't get it. We don't get new games. There won't be any more risks. There won't be any more groundbreaking games. Now, fair enough, Call of Duty will probably be here for another, 5 years? And then, gone. What can we do? Excuse me. I mean, let's just say this. Let's just say, like, I'll use my game for an example. Let's just say a game was announced that was, in fact, I'll use another game. Now one. Let's just say a game came out that says this is going to be the first ever supernatural RPG, where you get to choose between 4 races: human, elf, vampire, and werewolf, where you will interact with it and change the world as you see fit. Each starting story will be completely different, but the overall plot will remain the same with multiple choices. The game will go through several acts and several parts in time. The first one being set in BC time, and then eventually ending up in modern times, where you would have to define the races. Say a game came out like that, what would you think of it? Say a trailer or an announcement came out with that. What would it be? Does that sound better than fucking Call of Duty? So, yeah. That, by the way, that's my idea for a game, by the way. Yeah, if they announced a game like that, I'd be hooked. I'd be like, this is new. That's what interests people. When a trailer comes on for a game that looks exactly like fucking Call of Duty, you're just like, oh god, fuck off. But when a trailer comes up for something you've never seen before, something new, you're like, ooh, that intrigues me. Exactly. Uh, I think they are making Mirror's Edge 2, I think. I'm not 100% certain though. But, yeah, like, eventually people are just going to go, oh, it's another Call of Duty game, great. That's what I go like anyway. And instead of having an iterative game or anything new, there's going to be, god fuck you. That's going to be it. Like, that's the genres in the future. Nothing but fucking copy and paste jobs. And also, what the effect of Call of Duty has had is developers and fucking publishers, mainly the fucking publishers, by the way, think that you need to release a game ASA fucking P. Like, if you, let's just use Dragon Age Origins. They rushed out Dragon Age 2 beyond fucking belief. It's easy to fucking see that. That Dragon Age 2 was a rushed game. Still a good game. They managed to salvage it. Then what happened? It didn't do as well as Dragon Age Origins, and then Dragon Age 3, they've taken their fucking time with it. Hallelujah. And I can imagine EA weren't too happy when BioWare stated that. I'm pretty sure that wasn't EA's idea. Otherwise, EA probably just went, get it done in a year, and then we're releasing it. That would be EA. BioWare, though, David Geiger especially, was probably quite adamant, says, we need more time than a fucking year. That's what really pisses me off. It's mostly the publishers that think they need to get a game out like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, that. I can guarantee if EA had their way, we'd have another Mass Effect out by now. Probably Mass Effect 4, Black Ops. Or Mass Effect 4, Spectre Ops. And, yeah, don't get me started on Halo ODST. Oh, God. And that's what I just wanted to get out there is, there are... Oh, and of course, we can't forget Nintendo. Nintendo are the biggest fucking people that suffer from this. Mass Effect 4 the musical. Now that I could see. That would be, take my money. But also Nintendo are not innocent of this either. When's the last time Nintendo had an original idea? When's the last time they had something original besides a new Mario game or a new Sonic game? Never. They never. Most games, there are very few games out there from that. Wii U, yeah, Wii U is going to have, although they're smart with the Wii fucking U, they're releasing a Mario game with it. Smart, you fucking assholes. That's the thing, like, that's why I see it there. It's just, it's the same game, but at least it's Mario. Like, I'm pretty sure, like me, most people are cursed to buy every Mario game that comes out. I'm pretty sure most of us are cursed with that. But, who am I? Who am I to say? I'm just an average guy who's just pointing his opinion out there. And excuse me. And it's very sad that a lot of these game developers and a lot of these game publishers think that they have to release a game ASAP. It has to be familiar enough to people that it has to be enough a carbon copy of a game. In fact, look how many. Okay, I mean, look how many modern day shooters there are. There are almost an unlimited amount of modern day first person shooters, modern day third person shooters. Where's the innovation? Where's adding something new? The last time I saw an innovation in the shooter genre was Bulletstorm, which added the whip, which was an interesting concept. It was over the top, ballsy action. Basically a traditional arcade shooter, which looked really cool. Was interesting. I was tempted to buy it, but I didn't eventually. And that was the last time I really saw any kind of innovation attempt in shooters. I'm still waiting for an innovative first-person shooter with a decent and very engrossing story. Tell me a shooter that has an interesting, gripping character story. Crysis? Yeah, I consider that more of a sci-fi shooter. I'm talking about like a FPS. I also can't think of any that had a decent story. Taylor, fuck off. Sorry about that. I can't really think of any shooters that had a deep, engrossing story that had me intrigued the whole way through. I never saw one. I haven't seen a first-person shooter like that in years, if I'm going to be honest. And it sickens me, because and I'm a story gamer. If a game doesn't have a good enough story, it can go fuck itself. I'm sorry. Spec Ops: The Line, I actually watched a full playthrough of that. That actually had a very interesting story, I will admit. It was actually really cool, so I will lie. You left it there, you take it. Yep, go, pull off, close my door in the middle or something. Close the door. Properly. Sorry about that. But yeah, I will admit, Spec Ops: The Line, I watched a full playthrough of that. That actually did have a kind of an interesting story. But at the same time, it done something new. I like that. But I guarantee it didn't do that well, because it's too much effort to actually make it any more interesting, is it? Of course I'm nice. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't see a lot of game developers actually doing that these days, or game publishers actually making a game that has an intriguing, in-depth, deep, grossing story and actually doing well. It's sad. Like, in my opinion, you need to pick if you want that to happen, you're going to have to take a risk. You have to take risks to get into something, in my opinion. And no developer and no publisher nowadays is willing to take that risk, willing to roll the dice on something new. Instead, they'd rather just do a typical copy and paste job. Like, I only played Gears of War 3, so Gears of War 3 had a good story. I'll happily admit that. I actually was quite surprised by that. But that's the thing. Like, a lot of these bigger studios, like BioWare, Activision. So I'm terrible when it comes to fucking developers' names unless I played their games for years. Capcom. A lot of these ones aren't willing to take risks anymore. A lot of these ones are kind of sticking by the thing that made them. And it makes sense, but it'd be nice if they took a risk. But it's never going to happen. But risk means using their brains, and I don't think most developers these days have brains. I mean, the only place that really has any kind of innovation is the indie market. And a lot of indie games are actually pretty good, I'll happily admit. Fuck off! Goddamn little sisters. Game developers need to take their time with their games, like Rockstar who's taking their time with all of their games late in their game. Yeah, good point, Erlis. Game developers need to take their time when it comes to games. Too many game developers rush out their games as well. There's very few games that are years in development. Most games are in development for anywhere between 1 year, in some cases only 1 to 2, maybe 3 years at the most. There are no game developers that take their time with games anymore. A lot of games are just rushed out the fucking door. Dragon Age 2 is a prime example. That's all I can think of. Mass Effect 3 is a prime example as well. Sorry I keep using those two as examples, but they're only examples that come to my head. In defense balance though, during this time they need to make some sort of money. Fair enough, yeah, but still, here's how I see it. The longer it takes to make something, the sweeter it is. Like, you wouldn't rush a cake. You wouldn't put the batter in a bowl and then just go, I really want this cake, and then put it on a plate and eat it raw batter. No, you put it in a pot. You put it in the pot. You cook. You put it in whatever the fuck you cook. I'm not a cook. And you cook the cake. You leave it. You take it out. You cut it in half. You put the jam on it. You put a little bit of cream in the middle of it. You put it on. You sprinkle some powdered sugar on it. You put some icing on it, and then you take a bit. You take your time with this thing, and you take your time, the sweeter it is. Valve and Polygon wasn't thinking outside the box. Don't remind me seeing games that before that failed. Exactly, like Valve is a good example. Like Portal was just a fucking project from the game, from one of the teams in Valve. But let's just face it, and it was bundled in with Half-Life 2. But let's face it, if Portal 2 had came out as its standalone game, how well would it have done? As a standalone game, how well would Portal have done? Not that well, in my opinion. It's a good game. Like, I've never played Portal, but I played Portal 2, and I'll have to admit, Portal 2 is bloody awesome. I'll say that right now. But yeah, as I can say, Capcom isn't using original ideas there to say. Yeah, they're using just basically the ones that keep them safe, like the fighting game genre. Excuse me. I mean, how many people are clamoring for a fucking Mega Man game and they just went, no, fuck it, we ain't making another Mega Man game. They just make more Street Fighter, more Marvel vs. Capcom 3, things like that. I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's very few. A lot of these developers are the exact same. They don't want to take a risk. Instead, they'd rather stick to the safe things. I mean, it's sad. It's really, really sad. And I'm fully for the guy, for David. I can't even remember the last name, for actually having the balls to say that. Having the absolute biggest balls in a long time to flat out say that first-person shooters are destroying the industry. And it's true. And that is really sad that it takes someone who knows this industry probably pretty well to flat out just say, if we don't innovate, we're dead. We're dead. That's it. If we don't innovate, if the gaming industry does not innovate, we're going to see what happened years ago and it's going to crash. The gaming industry will be nothing but dead. I mean, look back at, I think it was the video game crash of the 80s. That was bad. It took years to get that back into the way it is. It wasn't as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. It didn't last as long as people said. But it was bad. It was bad. That is what will happen if we don't innovate. If the gaming industry does not innovate and actually take risks, it's going to be dead. But of course, then you have to go, like, what about the current economical state? Fair enough. The only thing is, though, I'm one of the few people out there that will still take a risk on a new IP. I'll still take a risk on a new IP like that. If it looks interesting enough that I want to get it, I'll get it. It's a new IP, I'll take that risk. But not a lot of people are like me. A lot of people are just like, they're stuck in the mindset. They want a game that will guarantee their money, and people just stick with what's familiar. They stick with the Call of Duties, they stick with the RPGs that they're familiar with. They'll just wait for the new IPs to go down in price. I'm not like that. If I think of a game that looks really, really good, I'll buy it. If I can afford it, I'll buy it full price. If I'm going to be honest, but I'm a very rare species nowadays. Very few people are willing to take risks on new IPs anymore. Who here would take a risk on a new IP game that just came out, that had just been announced 6 months ago, and then came out and says this is going to be a completely new experience that you want to try? Let's just say it was a sci-fi shooter RPG that came out, and it was a whole new idea, whole new story, things like that, something new that you'd never heard of, like um, uh, hot raging bats. Where the fuck did I come up with that? This would be a game called that. Hot Raging Bats. Weird name, but yeah, let's just say it. Who would take a risk on a game called Hot Raging Bats? Why the fuck did I come up with that? Not very few people would. Very few people would take a risk on games that they've never heard of. And that's the thing. That's really pisses me off as well, that no one's willing to take a risk because we know that they know the customers too well. That's the thing. It's really sad. So, what's everyone else's opinion out there? Does everyone here think that the gaming industry will die if there is a lack of innovation? If there's a lack of innovation, who thinks the gaming industry will last longer than 5 years? Or who do you think it'll end up crashing soon? Who thinks that? Raise your hands. Sorry. Have you seen the new console development? I've had a wee glimpse of it. I haven't looked at the new console yet, but I will say it looks kind of interesting. But who here thinks that the gaming industry will be dead if they don't innovate? Who thinks that? Who thinks that the gaming industry will be dead if they don't innovate? I'm not alone. I'm not alone, thank God. Everyone, a good chunkies agree with me. That if they don't innovate, they're dead. The same with films as well, by the way. If they don't innovate, they're dead. So I don't think there's much else I can say on the topic, is that if they don't innovate, the industry's going to die. It's going to be turned back into what it was 20 years ago and be just another casual thing that very few people do. And it's sad because there'll be so many games that they'll just be gone. That if I honestly don't see that the gaming industry lasting any longer than another 5 years at the most if they don't innovate and not just reboot. Thanks for pointing that out, Shotty. No reboots, no sequels. Do something different. Even if you do something different with a standing IP. Like if they took Mass Effect and turned it into something slightly different. That was different from the Mass Effect franchise, but was familiar enough. And it would be nice to see an innovation every now and then. I mean, when's the last time any of us saw an innovation in gaming that didn't include peripheral devices, by the way? Don't start going with Kinect. Still a party thing. It's just that's sad but true. There's very few innovative games nowadays. It's all copy and paste jobs. And it really annoys me. It really does. Slow dying from the same recycle. The gaming industry should look at that. Yep, that could be the future of gaming. That could end up being it. What happens to the gaming industry could happen to what happened to Hollywood, sorry, can happen to gaming industry. It's sad but true. And there's no point, there's no if, there's no what's about it. Gaming industry will be dead within 5 years if they don't do something new. If they don't innovate and do something different. And that means new IPs, new ideas. And I know this is a big thing for you game developers and publishers out there, but you need to take risks. Risk. It's R-I-S-K. You need to take risks. Because if you don't take risks, you won't innovate. I know it's a scary thing. I know it's scary. It's called risk for a reason. And time as well. Risk it, but take your time as well. Don't rush it. And prime example of that is The Witcher. The Witcher 2. Great game, took a bloody risk. I mean, The Witcher did well, but The Witcher 2 took a risk beyond belief. It was primarily a PC game, but then it came to the Xbox 360 a year later. That was a big risk for CD Projekt. That was a huge risk. And guess what? It paid off. It actually paid off. The Witcher 2 done fantastic on consoles. And highly recommend it, by the way. I'd highly recommend The Witcher 2 to anyone. If you can, go with the PC version, but if you can get the console version, get it. It's a fantastic game. And CD Projekt took a risk, and they're taking more risks as well. I am sold on CD Projekt after playing one of their games, because I can see that they actually want to take risks and take passion in their development. The next game that they're working on is called Cyberpunk, which is a big risk because Cyberpunk is one of the most played tabletop RPGs ever, and a game for that has been rumored for years. So it could work. If it works, it works, and I can't wait for it. I'm actually getting on PC if I can, and I think that's all I've got to say on the matter is that CD Projekt at the moment are the only company that are taking risks. Very few other game developers are. There's no release date on Cyberpunk, by the way. It's just currently in development. They haven't even started doing the basics yet. They've only recently announced it. So, that's what I say, is that CD Projekt to me is the only one that's really taking any risks. StarCraft and consoles. I haven't played StarCraft, nor do I follow it in any way, shape, or form, so I don't know that much about it. I'm sorry, I can't talk about it if I don't know about it. Sorry. But yeah, as I say, it's very few game developers are willing to take risks, and the only one that to me that's currently taking any decent risks is CD Projekt and Quantic Dreams. Those are the only two companies that are taking risks these days. No other one is. Not even BioWare. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. BioWare don't take risks. But what can you say? Like, BioWare are sticking to what's familiar. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of games and script ideas for different games that BioWare want to do in their offices. I'm pretty sure every fucking writer in there has a script for a game that they would love to make, but if they were to show it now, EA would just go, no. Stick to Mass Effect and Dragon Age. Those are the games that will guarantee sales. Until this economy sorts itself out, until the gaming industry wises fucking up, we ain't gonna see any brand new IPs for a while. All we're gonna get is sequels, prequels, and remakes. That is all we're gonna get. What's happening to the movie industry? It's happening to the gaming industry. For movies, what are we getting? We're getting sequels, prequels, and remakes. Games, sequels, prequels, and remakes. But the companies don't give a crap. All they want to release is a good game, no matter how many people will think. It's kind of like they sell to the other, and no one of those is one of those is Rockstar. All they want is release a good game. They don't give a crap. All they want to release is a good game, and no matter what people will think. Exactly, MD. Some developers are different, which is nice. Also, for those that don't know, I thought I may as well get a little gaming news out here. Red Dead Redemption 2 is in the works. There's some gaming news for you. Red Dead Revolver was the game before it. I think it was Red Dead Revolver, then Red Dead Redemption. Oh, Revolution, sorry, my apologies. My apologies, me mistaken. But yeah, as I said, Rockstar to an extent as well, they just want to release a good game, and Red Dead Redemption is a prime example. I've still not played it, by the way. I intend to get it, so don't kill me. But yeah. Indie game developers take risks, but they are screwed they are fucked ones and good ones. Exactly, that's the thing, like risk reward. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens in the next 5 years. And I can hope that maybe the gaming industry will wise up and not end up being like the film industry. But it's going to happen one day. And it's kind of sad that possibly we're going to have to suffer. So we'll have to wait and see. So I think that's all I've got to say on the topic. It really disheartens me that a lot of these companies don't see that if they don't take risks, this industry is going to die again, and we won't know what will happen when it comes back. It's sad, and we'll end up saying goodbye to a lot of publishers and a lot of developers. BioWare, Rockstar, Rocksteady, CD Projects, they could all go if the industry crashes. That's what's going to happen. I think that's all I've got to say on the topic, so hopefully you've enjoyed this live stream. Are there any questions out there? We will just get a load of callers in this. Yeah, have to wait and see. And one thing, Stan, let's just face it, consoles will never beat PCs for quality. I'll say that right now. So, are there any questions out there before I end the stream? Alex, I'm not going to talk about it. No, enjoy your holiday, Airless Dragon. Not a problem. They'll be up on my YouTube channel if you want to check them out afterwards. Did you get some sleep? Yeah, I did manage to get some sleep, MD. Thanks for asking, and hopefully you were able to get some too. I had a real bad. I had some trouble the previous night getting sleep, guys, and MDs, and I did eventually get some. So I got a couple of those, which was really good. For those that don't know, I do have trouble sleeping sometimes. In fact, in some cases, I don't get any more than maybe 2 to 3 hours sleep a night. Not because I don't want to, it's just because I can't sleep. So, yeah. Thanks, Andy, for asking. I did get some sleep eventually, which was really worth it. I literally slept for like 8 hours. 8 hours. So, are there any more questions? Oh, it looks like Errolus and Alex are going to have a little day. So, are there any more questions out there before I end the stream? No, I have not played Slenderman. I actually have no idea what it is. I will check it out though, if it's not too bad. Will you be seeing The Dark Knight Rises in IMAX? I won't be seeing The Dark Knight Rises in IMAX because the nearest IMAX to me is in Sheffield. So yeah. Do you play indie games on the Xbox? I do occasionally, but I don't have enough money to actually play any indie games. A lot of them are quite pricey. The last indie game I played was a DLC Quest, which is a freaking hilarious game. So, watch the Slender Man documentary. It's a game. I'll check it out if I get a chance. So, are there any more questions out there before I end the stream fairly shortly? Any last minute questions that anyone wants to ask? I'm not too fussy and ask anything. See you later, Alex. So, is there no more questions out there? Because I'll just end the stream now if there's none. Halo 4, Unto Dawn. Up to Dawn. Halo 4 I'm interested in, but yeah, I'm not too fussed. But I'll probably never get in it. So no more questions. Then I'll end this stream. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that it was entertaining enough. I know I didn't sound too enthusiastic. It's just this topic did really piss me off a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are entertained at least enough. I know I'm not the most entertaining person in the world, but hopefully you enjoyed it. So thanks again for coming, those who did, and if you missed anything, it'll be going up on YouTube in about an hour or so, depending on how long it is. Well, you enjoy your holiday, Airless Dragon, and thanks for everyone who watched this. I really do appreciate it, and no problem. Hope you enjoyed it. And look forward to the next stream. I may do a surprise stream sometime this week on Stickum, so look forward to that. And look forward to next week's stream. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. So, thanks again for watching. I hope all of you have a good day and have a good laugh. And don't forget to go and watch my new review of the Tim Burton Batman films, which is up on my channel now. You can go and check it out if you want. And thanks again for watching, all of you. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you all later. Ciao for now.